Palm Beach. That's where they're all hanging out, getting some stuff done, getting ready for the new league year to start, and that means all 32 coaches are out there, general managers and owners. Obviously, if owners weren't there, it'd be weird to call it the owners' meetings. We heard from Sean Payton. George Payton has spoke. Greg Pinner has spoke. We're going to focus on the things that Sean Payton had to say today and then get into what the rest of the guys said tomorrow on the show. But a few things, Cease, and of course, running back. It matters. You and I talk about it a lot. With
priority number one.
What they do at 20, 51, 85. We know we want them to pick a couple of those things. So that was obviously a topic of conversation for Sean Payton and asked by the media today. Where are you looking at? How do you feel about current running back room, free agent market? And he gave us a little breakdown.
Yeah, I think that factors into it, but I also think we felt like it was pretty lean year in regards to free agency at that position, just relatively speaking. But there is depth in the draft.
So there is depth in the draft. He would go on to say, he didn't say we kind of. He said, we also want to see what our guys, the current room, can progress into. So he's telling you there's depth in the draft. I don't think there's any game to be played here because of what you have said time and time again. There are 30-plus available running backs in this draft with draft grades on them.
Yep.
And he didn't even drop a name. So there's no throw you off the scent, try to get over on somebody. He's telling you there's a lot of talent there. We know there's a need there. So 1 and 1 makes 2, right? You need a running back.
Yeah.
Sean just told us they'll grab one.
Well, when he says free agent running back class is thin, I think, oh, so the guys that are good wanted more money. That's what that means.
I thought about J.K. Dobbins, too. So does that mean he doesn't appreciate his talent or money?
It's too much money.
Okay.
Yeah, too much money. They would jump at the chance for J.K. Dobbins. You'd have to, right?
I mean, he's still chilling, right? He doesn't have a job right
Right.
now.
And based on what he can still do, especially if you keep him healthy, that's where Bo Lowry comes in. Oh, Bo's at the owners' meetings.
Is he?
Because I hope he is. Because they have a party tonight.
Okay.
And I don't know if you ever partied with billionaires, but
No, I have not.
you and I know a few millionaires. Billionaires is just different.
I've gotten on like 2 of those guest lists ever, and I made the most of it.
That's the way you do it. So if you look at what's left and the best guy being J.K. Dobbins, he just wants too much money.
Okay.
That's what that says to me. Oh, well, free agent running back is thin. Well, it wouldn't be thin if he wanted a deal. It wouldn't be thin if he accepted a team-friendly contract. He doesn't want a team-friendly contract, and, well, good for him, but bad for him because the streets are cold for running backs, especially with this running back class coming up.
I mean, yeah, you're going to go through the draft, and it's not like his price tag is going to go up.
No, not at all.
This sucks to say out loud, but I feel like that's what he's doing. He's banking on somebody getting hurt and then taking advantage of a team being in a bad spot.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. So, we'll see if it works out for him, but you're not going to get much, and the Broncos certainly don't look like they're going to add a running back before the draft, which maybe leads you to think the first-round pick's going to be a running back. And I've vacillated so much on that because it's Sean Payton. We have no idea, just the way he likes it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is exactly what he wants it to be.
Yep.
When he said the thing about letting the current running back room progress, I literally thought about you. 'Cause I'm like, well, Audric Estime, you feel about Audric Estime kind of the same way I feel about Jaleel McLaughlin.
Right.
But you have a more legitimate reason. He fumbles the football. That's a problem. Now, Jaleel can't break a shoestring tackle. That's a reason, but it's not as big as turning the football over. When he said that, I mean, he's talking about Audric. He's talking about Jaleel. He's talking about Blake Watson. And I couldn't decide whether or not I could firmly answer if he's talking about Tyler Bidet or not. Is he?
Yeah.
Are we talking about, that's 4 dudes.
Yeah.
Cease.
Yeah.
So they're going to go get 2, and half of that room's going to get cut in August.
Yeah, and then hopefully on the practice squad, if you want to stick around. So you're going to get 2 in the draft, and then you're going to have a competition. And then it's really, for this thing, in terms of relevant snaps, I think Jaleel McLaughlin makes the team. So you mentioned half the room. I think you can already, maybe not sharp, maybe like a worn-out Sharpie. We're like, is that Sharpie? Like a worn-out Sharpie. You can put McLaughlin on the roster, which may not be what you want. I don't think it is.
I want to know what I'm looking at in August before I make that decision.
Okay.
He's on the outside looking in for me right now.
Okay. For them, I think he's in that kind of half Sharpie.
Okay.
And this is why. Because he'll still have a role. Not a large role, but he'll still have a role. Your first 2 guys, though, that's where Estime could crack in. Estime could crack into those top 2. Maybe not the number 1, because that's just not the way that he's built. But he could crack into that Mark Ingram role. They need Kamara and they need Ingram. They don't have either one. Now, behind them, the third guy will be Jaleel McLaughlin because that's his best role. He's not Kamara, and obviously he's not Ingram. But he brings value to the team when he's on the field, especially because of that quickness to get to the pylon in the red zone. So he will have a role, a smaller role. But it's really Estime who could take that largest step. Unless Blake Watson takes this thing over and he's the elite receiver who plays running back, Sean Payton's words, that's what he's looking for. Blake Watson's a converted receiver. I don't want to be the Blake Watson truther, but that's still a possibility.
Well, real quick, I've always looked at it as such, and you have more eyeballs on Blake Watson than I do. I looked at Blake Watson just from what you've told me in comparables of when Jaleel's out, Blake is in. Like, he gets that opportunity.
He's better than Jaleel.
Well, then what are we doing here?
Waiting for a guy to develop, I guess.
Okay.
And they're waiting for Audric Estime to develop, I guess. And that's what Sean Payton said about, hey, want to see how their in-house running backs progress? You'd better have you better have many options so that if Estime fumbles one more time in practice, I don't want him on the field.
Yeah.
You know, if Blake Watson doesn't take that step, what are we doing? If Jaleel McLaughlin, in practice gets knocked down by a gust of wind, what are we doing? So you better have a quick hook when it comes to these in-house running backs. Yeah, great. You want to see them develop. What if they don't? Be ready with other options.
You ever seen those videos of the drunk guy trying to put his tee and his ball down on like hole 18 and they've been drinking all day and he just can't keep his feet upright? That's how Jaleel runs.
Okay.
He's got that low center of gravity,
right?
But he's just going to fall forward at some point,
okay,
without any real physical contact.
I didn't know where you were going there because you're talking about leaning over and then the tee, and I was like, "Are you talking about teabagging?"
Like they get there? No, not that.
I lost in PUBG last night. I got number 2, and the guy started teabagging me. I was like, "I'm reporting you."
That's bad. Yeah, that's like Warzone too. So it's a big battle royal. How many people are in it? You got second place is pretty damn good.
100.
That's pretty sweet. Because I've still only got third place 95 times on Warzone. And that's all I can get is third place.
Yeah. But, okay, so Jaleel's like the golf
He's the drunk guy,
tee.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Like very low center to the gravity, but like he's falling over at some point without any physical contact.
You mentioned my tee and the ball, and my brain immediately went there. Right, scrotum.
What do you think about Sam Ellinger? Oh, nice segue. How's Sam Ellinger going to fit for the Broncos? He's just the third guy, like emergency quarterback, right? That's all he is.
Well, he might be better than Jarrett Stidham. He's got some dual threat capabilities. His deep ball needs a lot of work, but he can work short to underneath. And in a Sean Payton system, he had other offers. Sam Ellinger now signs with the Denver Broncos to compete for a quarterback spot. And people are saying, could he be the Taysom Hill? I don't want to go there with that and say like Sean Payton is totally looking for that. You need playmakers, all right? And Ellinger does have dual threat capabilities. I kind of like him. I like the idea of him competing with Jarrett Stidham, but he's a player that plays a lot of hero ball, doesn't have the arm to back it up. Not the elite athlete as a runner either, because you think of dual threat capabilities. Like, he's okay. He can scoot. He can move around.
Okay.
But he's short to intermediate stuff is good. Deep ball stuff is way off.
All right. All right, we will get back to some more Broncos conversation. Tell you